Hi, everybody. We're back on the show here. We are really excited because we got Peter Rosniewski here and Sarah. We're talking about rebounding, and it's been a long time, Hildegard, but I used to be in the rebounding business.
Well,
so I'm really excited.
To me this morning, everybody was bouncing off the rebounder already.
No, I got to say, these are the best rebounders I've ever experienced.
Oh, so you have a comparison to
absolutely
the older ones.
But, yeah.
TorontoRebounders.com. Peter and Sarah, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice of you to join us. And if we maybe could start off a little bit by finding out, how did you get into the bouncing business?
Okay. Well, I guess the way I got into it is I've been rebounding off and on for the last 10 years. I first started off, the first 8 years I used a NEDAC rebounder, which was the best rebounder available at that time. And by the way, rebounders have been around for the last 35, 40 years, I believe. So I used a NEDAC for 8 years, and then I started using a bellicon for probably 2.5 years now. And so that's my experience with rebounding. I mean, it's something, the reason why I've got into it is because I've always been a very strong believer in the health benefits of rebounding. So we have a store on Avenue Road. We also have a very large website. When I had a NEDAC, I used it sporadically because it uses metal springs. So the bounce is very hard and very jolting with any rebounder that uses metal springs. And so the bellicon, by comparison, is the best rebounder in the world because it uses rubber-like bungee cords, which give you a very, very soft and very gentle bounce. So when I used the NEDAC for 8 years, I used it sporadically because it was like jumping on a board. When I got the bellicon, I've been using it for the last 2.5 years every day.
You know, I just got to say, because I remember when I was in the business, there was a cheap knockoff brand of rebounders that came out, and they were very stiff, right?
Yes.
And it's such a totally different experience. And on this one, just because we were trying them out before we came on the show, it's like being on an actual trampoline. Like, it's as much fun as a big giant trampoline on a little rebounder.
Yes.
And I would love to hear the story, Peter, of how you encountered rebounding and how you discovered the health benefits. Like, what was your life like before you found rebounders?
Okay. Well, I mean, this is partly how I got into it. I mean, I've been involved in alternative medicine and natural healing for the last 40 years. And this is kind of a part of that. I mean, one of the ideas behind rebounding, and especially bellicon rebounders, is that when you're on a rebounder, you're exercising on a cellular level.
Right.
So you're improving your strength and your health on a cellular level, and that's like the deepest level and most beneficial level to do it on.
So it looks like we can see Kathy benefiting her health on a cellular level in the other room now.
Yes. Well, what happens is you have 65 trillion cells in your body. And when you're using a rebounder, what you're doing is you're using gravity. You're alternating between loading 3 to 4 times the G-force in everyday life and weightlessness. So you're alternating between those two things, and that's where the health benefits come from. And nothing escapes the effects of gravity, including our cells. So whether you like it or not, when you're on a rebounder, all 65 trillion cells are going up and down 90 times per minute. So it's like every cell in your body is doing 90 push-ups a minute.
So,
and not only that, just to add one more thing, that you have 638 muscles in your body, and every one of those muscles are being engaged and being used when you're on a rebounder at the same time. Because again, nothing escapes the effects of gravity.
Okay. And it's fun. It's just fun.
It's great fun, and you don't feel it. Like I was just going to say, when you said the metal spring rebounders, and I had a friend who came to visit from California, had this folding thing with the metal thing, and you get tired on it. Here, we were kind of saying, hey, my turn. We were hogging
Yes.
the rebounder because I didn't feel it. There was no strain.
Exactly.
It was a beautiful sensation to be on.
Yes.
Now the question I have is, you said it helps the cell. What happens? I thought it was like only for the lymph system to detoxify the lymph system.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
We haven't got to that yet.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the cell then. How does it help the cell in a little bit more detail? Could you explain that, please?
Okay, well, I mean, the way I think about it is, or a good way to explain it or describe it is, you have a cell which is like a teardrop. Okay, let's say a drop of water. So when the water, because we're using gravity, when the drop of water goes to the top and there's weightlessness, it becomes elongated. When it comes down to the bottom and loaded with gravity, it becomes flattened. So you have this constant pumping action.
Yes.
Okay, our cells are constantly excreting waste and secreting nutrients. And so it helps with the cleansing process, detoxifying your cells. The other thing is that, on a cellular level, like for example, with exercising, if you have a weak arm and you take a weight and you start lifting a weight, your body responds by strengthening. That's one of the basic concepts of exercising. So your body perceives resistance, and so it responds by strengthening, building muscle, and so on. So when you're going up and down on the rebounder and loading and unloading gravity, your body perceives that as resistance, gravity, the loading of 3 to 4 times the G-force of gravity as resistance. So again, your body responds by making the cell walls stronger.
Okay,
And so what happens when people get sick, when they get cancer or other things, one of the things that happens is their cell walls, because they're so thin and flimsy, they just break down and just start falling apart.
Yeah.
So when you have strong cell walls, they function more efficiently. They're able to excrete and secrete much better, more efficiently, and then also they'll be stronger during times of crisis, like health problems.
So you don't have them as often, I guess, because the cells get the toxins out, the nutrients can get in.
Exactly.
And cell reproduction is more natural and more effective, maybe.
And what it comes down to, yes, is our bodies function more efficiently the way they're supposed to, Because what happens is when people are sedentary, they become toxic because they're not detoxifying their bodies. I mean, they're not detoxifying their cells, their lymphatic systems. So anytime you're helping that process, you're going to be improving your overall health and feeling better and having better energy.
Would you please explain a little more about the significance of the lymphatic system? Because it seems to a lot of people that I heard using it, having it in their home, they were talking about it helps their lymph system. One lady had liver cancer, for instance, and she said, I have decided to buy a rebounder, but she had the metal squeaky kind.
Yes.
And it would go, it makes these squeaky sounds all the time,
Yes, exactly. Well, about the lymphatic system, something that the two most common subjects that come up with rebounding. Can I just mention something? Should we get Sarah maybe to just do a little bit of bouncing while we talk? While I talk with her.
I know she's here for support.
And then we can hear that it doesn't squeak, right?
Yes, and then you can hear how quiet it is. Just to have her do a little bit, so
and
you can see what it looks like.
And then we ask you about your experience later. I'll take that. Thank you.
Maybe she can do a few minutes and then sit down back for a little while. But just so people can see what it's like, what we're talking about, and see the difference. I mean, if people can hear, there's no sound. It's totally quiet. And you can see, just if you look at the bounce, if you're able to see, just from, even without jumping on it, just from seeing the video of it, that you can get a good sense of what it's like bouncing on a bellicon versus, in other words, a bellicon with rubber bungee cords, compared to a metal spring rebounder, which is like jumping on a board.
They should come down to your shop and just test this thing.
Yes.
Seriously, anybody that tests this thing will know.
Well, anybody that ever tries them, once they try it, they never want to use anything else.
Well, I can see why, because she could jump for the next hour and I could sit here, read a book and not be bothered by it at all.
Yes. So, I have my original Needak metal spring rebounder in the store, so people can try that first when they come to the store. I have them get on that
that's
first,
good, yeah.
and then they try that. They get on. They say, "Hey, this isn't too bad." This
Because
is great.
that was the best
And
at the time,
That was the
right?
best at the time.
Yeah.
And then they go on this, and they say, "Wow," and they're confused, and they're saying, "Holy smoke, this is something else." And then they go back to the Needak, and then it really hits them about what the difference is.
Now, Sarah is a very fit young lady. What if I'm in my early 70s and I have squeaky joints and I have high blood pressure and I have diabetes and I'm taking all these drugs and somebody now tells me to buy a rebounder? What is the limit? Like, can anybody any age
Yes.
do this?
Yes. Well, it's funny. Everything you mentioned, I have lots of customers like that you just described who buy rebounders from me. And what there is there's a stabilizer bar that attaches to the rebounder so that people who have problems with balance can hold on. You can either get one or you can get two and hold on to both of them or one of them, or just have it there so that if you need it, you can reach for it.
So what is the stages of, let's say you really are not good at it. Sarah obviously is really great at it.
Yes.
She's bouncing back and forth, and I tried it earlier and I was so blown off by the bounce it has.
Right.
How does a beginner start? Somebody with a medical condition,
Okay.
not very stable, holds on to the stabilizer.
Yes.
What is it like? How do you teach people how to use this tool? Is there like
Okay.
videos, or how
All
does
right.
it work?
Well, we have a video that comes with the rebounder when you purchase it. I don't know if we can see that. Okay, yeah, they can see it. Yeah, they can see if they can.
There it is.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, so that's we have a video. Plus, there are other video that you get this when you purchase it. It has 10, 20-minute workouts. Plus, there are other videos that we sell as well. There's lots of free stuff available on the internet. And also, the Toronto Rebounder store it will be starting classes in the next 2 or 3 months. So
Okay.
that's something another
So one
resource for
could
people.
come there and have hands-on
Yes,
lesson,
instruction
to be
and lessons.
instructed that depending on what the person's physical abilities are to
Yes.
begin with, that they can gradually move up to a more
Yeah.
demanding exercise.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to ask Sarah. I'll just show you something. Sarah, can you do a health bounce? Okay, do the health bounce with the light punching. Okay, so your feet aren't coming off the mat. That's a little too high, Sarah. Just keep them lower. That's good there. Okay,
yeah, the
this is
feet
a
are-
health bounce. The feet don't leave the mat.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is something that a senior can do. Someone with just recovery. They have this for people who are recovering from operations or convalescing from some illness. So you're just going up and the mat's moving up and down 3 or 4 inches, but there's no impact.
So
And
you're
their feet aren't-
standing, your feet are planted
Yeah,
on
just-
the fabric.
Yes.
And they stay
And they don't
planted.
leave. Okay, and then this is the way I actually warm up. I've had 3 back fractures myself over the last 40 years. So when I get on the rebounder, I never just get on and just jump. I always get on and do it in stages. I do a health bounce first to slowly get the blood circulating into my muscles. And usually I do it first thing in the morning. I'm very stiff for first thing in the morning. When I get on there, I do the health bounce. Then the stiffness goes away because the blood's flowing into my muscles. Then the next thing I do, Sarah, just do like a 1/16 of an inch. So it's just a little bit more. So I call this a vigorous health bounce. So it's just barely coming off the mat. So I do that for 5. What I do is I use a clock. This
Yeah.
is very important, using a timer.
Yeah.
And I set this for 30, for whatever time I'm going to be using it. And every 5 minutes I change it, every 5-minute interval. So I do 5 minutes of health bouncing, then 5 minutes of a vigorous health bounce, which is a 1/16 of an inch, and then 5 minutes of a regular bounce. That's a regular bounce there, Sarah. Whenever you're on a rebounder, you want to incorporate your arms and your hands. So you don't want to just be bouncing. You want to be bouncing and incorporating your arms and your hands, because in that way you're making more efficient use of your time on the rebounder. And then from there, after 5 minutes of that, then I do 5 minutes of cross-country skiing, and then I might do 5 minutes of jogging. Jogging, Sarah?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That looks a little bit more involved.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's different things you can do. I mean, you only do what you feel comfortable with. You don't have to do jogging.
Yeah.
Then I go back to 5 minutes of cross-country skiing, and then I finish with 5 minutes of health bouncing, the same way I started. just so that then that way I get the lactic acid out of my muscles, and then that way I avoid stiffness.
So it works your system down a little bit. You're cooling off.
Yes, cool down.
So
This is just cool down. Period. So I just want to get back to, if I can, what your question was, and I never got a chance to answer it.
About the lymph system.
That's right, about the lymph system, and that is that the two most popular subjects that you hear people talking about with rebounding is the lymphatic system and osteoporosis.
Now wait, before Sarah gets down, could I ask you to do a couple of backflips for us?
Okay.
Better check the insurance policy.
Okay. All right. So anyway, osteoporosis and lymphatic system. Those are the two most common subjects that come up when you talk about rebounding. And the reason why is because that's what rebounding is best for. There's nothing else better for your for detoxifying your lymphatic system and for increasing bone density than rebounding.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, like for example, NASA used rebounders in their program for their astronauts. And what happened was, when they go out in outer space, if they're at the space station for 2 months or something, they come back, and when they examine them, they've lost like 1 or 2% of bone density. And so what they do is, part of the rehabilitation program is putting them on rebounders. Now, what happens with, like, if you go see a regular doctor, they will tell you if you have osteoporosis, you should start lifting weight-bearing, doing weight-bearing exercise, lifting weights. So if you do that, you're improving, you're putting weight on your arms or on your legs. When you're on a rebounder, you're loading gravity 3 to 4 times the G-force that you normally experience in everyday life. It's not just on your arms and your legs; it's your whole body that's being loaded. So as your body perceives that resistance, it automatically releases the proper hormones and stuff to create the thickness in your bones.
And it strengthens your muscles as well, and then muscle determines your metabolism.
It does many things on many different levels. Like, there are many different kinds of exercises you can do focused on achieving different things. Now, in regards to the lymphatic system, it's also the best exercise for the lymphatic system. There's nothing better than that.
So what does it do exactly, and then how do you feel differently when your lymphatic system is being detoxified properly?
Okay, well, first of all, most people have stagnant lymphatic systems.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's because of inactivity. So when you have like your heart, your blood, your circulatory system, it has a pump, a heart. Your lymphatic system does not have a pump. In your body, you have 2 main fluids. One is your blood, the other is the lymphatic system. Your blood is 25% of the fluid. Your lymphatic system is 75% of the fluid. And you've got no pump for the lymphatic system. So the only pump you have for the lymphatic system is movement. And the best kind of movement is bouncing on a rebounder. And what happens is you've got millions of little valves in the vessels of your lymphatic system. They kind of look like this. As you jump up, the valves open up like this. They're one-way valves. So the fluid goes up and through, then it comes down. What's up there stays up there, then these close down, and what's down there stays down there. So every time they're going like this, opening and closing, so you're moving fluid through your body, lymphatic fluid through your body. And that, lymphatic fluid, it has many different functions, or several different functions. One of them, it brings nutrients to your cells. The other most important one is it's like the main garbage system in your body. And it's the main garbage system for metabolic waste from all your cells. So you have 65 trillion cells in your body, and all of them are excreting waste, metabolic waste. So that stuff has to go someplace. So it goes into your lymphatic system, where it's carried out to like your skin, your colon, your kidneys, and that's how it leaves your body. So people who are very toxic, and that's usually what happens first before they get sick, they become toxic. And one of the most beneficial things you can do is get your lymphatic system flowing so you can clear stuff out of your body.
Like, what are the symptoms of having a sluggish lymphatic system that we would
Well,
expect
some
to clear
people,
up?
there's something called lymphedema. I want to apologize if I'm sounding too much like a medical person here, because I'm not a medical person. I'm not a doctor.
No,
I
it's
sell
okay.
rebounders. But, we're talking about this stuff, and I
health
do know
benefits,
about this.
right?
See the
Yeah.
health benefits.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, there is something called lymphedema, which, what I believe what that is, and the reason I know about this because I have, people who buy rebounders from me who are referred to me by naturopaths or doctors. I have regular doctors who buy rebounders from me. And, they send them to me because they tell them that they need help flushing their lymphatic systems. And I believe lymphedema is when you get pooling in your lymph nodes. So let's say, I think the most common place would be like down in your ankles and stuff where you get swelling. So what happens is it's not circulating, so it's like collecting.
Right.
And it looks like water retention.
Yes,
Or sometimes
yes.
people have
Even-
nodules here.
Yes.
It's really hard and hurtful. It's when the glands really starts to load up on lymph.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think elephantitis is like an extreme form of lymphedema.
Okay.
Okay, where it's not circulating.
And that's where you grow a large trunk.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. No, you big.
Well, if you
Swollen
don't
legs and
use
things.
it, you lose it. That's true for everything. And I just wanted to give Sarah a chance to please share with us your experience being on there, because after you've been jumping there, probably 10 minutes now, I would expect anybody exercising for 10 minutes be all hot and sweaty, and you just look gorgeous, and there is no red face or anything. Let's hear from you. What was it like? I saw you lift up your knees rather high when you were doing the jogging, which looked like a lot of work.
It's a very invigorating workout, and you notice instantly your heart is pumping. You feel the cardiovascular benefit from it. And I would say, after even 5 minutes, you will begin to sweat, but you feel great because you're burning calories, you're flushing those toxins out of your body, and I just have a feeling of joy when I'm doing it. It really boosts your mood and is a great stress buster.
And it's fun.
Yeah. I just want to just mention one thing, that's one of the reasons why the bellicon rebounder is the best rebounder in the world, because it is, when you're on it, you feel good right away.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's fun. So it's fun to use. So for those two reasons, you have a better chance of being successful with whatever goals you have on the rebounder.
Yeah.
And sticking with it. When we were at a show, I think it was the Total Women's Show, or the Women's Health Show, or the Total Health Show. We had like 3,000, 4,000 people who were just walking by. They just got on and were on the just got on the rebounder for a few minutes. Every one of them that got on, as soon as they got on it, started smiling.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
You
in
should get
itself is healing, right?
Because it makes you feel good and
Yes.
it's fun.
And it's fun. I just want to say there's another benefit I don't think we mentioned, is that it's low impact on your body. Like,
Yes.
of course, when you're running, that's hard on your joints, on your knees and stuff like that. But this is like, especially this one, because it is so smooth, right? So low impact that you're not damaging
Yes.
your joints or your knees or
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes, that's one of the reasons why it's the best, is because it has the least amount of impact.
Yeah.
So actually, that's what some people do. They, who have been running, jogging for most of their lives, and then now they're crippled because they've been running on concrete,
Yeah.
and it's damaged their joints. So now they can use something like this that has very, very minimal impact.
Well, and we can attest to, as you were unpacking them here, everybody wanted to give it a try, and it makes you really feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
So smiling, laughing, if that's something that is a side benefit, then it can be not anything else but great for your health.
Yes.
So guys, where do people go? Where's the store? Let's give the address out and then the web address and all that sort of thing.
Okay, the store is located at 1724 Avenue Road.
Okay.
And that is in the Lawrence Avenue Road area. It's in between Lawrence and Wilson on Avenue Road. Those are the two main streets.
Okay.
It's on the second floor of a flower shop called Blooming Hill Flowers. But something I'd just like to mention is I make the store available 7 days a week. Almost any time that people would like to come for demonstration appointments to accommodate them. The only thing is, because I'm in and out all the time, it's by appointment.
Right. which makes sense. And they can go on the website, I suppose, to make the appointment and that sort of thing?
Yes, they can go to the website and email me from the website address, or from the email address from the website, or they can call the store number and arrange an appointment. Just let me know when they would like to come, what day, what time.
And we're going to put all that info in the credits so
Sure.
people can just fast forward and get all that information.
And will you have on your classes? You were mentioning you were planning on doing classes. Will that be on your website as well?
Yes, as we get more information, we'll be putting it on the website.
Okay.
As
So
that over
people
the
need to
next
check that.
month or two. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Great,
And-
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
here
Okay,
this
thank you
morning.
very
I
much. Thank you.
appreciate
And
that.
so much fun. You can come back anytime. As long as you
All
bring
right.
those rebounders with you. I feel like getting on one right now, and I just might.
Don't you feel like a kid again? This
Yeah.
was great. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to come back with Odwin Trapman, right?
And we talk about all the things that I was never allowed to talk about when I was a kid.
Clearing out negative entities.
Monsters in closets, are they real? Stay around and find out.
Okay, we'll be right back.